Why did you guys decide to include Trotsky Castle there? And did you see the demons?
We didn't see any demons in Trotsky. Well, we did have a team building next to Trotsky, and so I think we all saw some demons.
Inner demon.
But we chose this location because it is iconic.
All the things that were in the game bloated up to become rich. We expanded, and all these factors led to us having more time in the end to make sure that you have these amazing moments where you're doing side quests all over Trusty region, and then you meet all the NPCs who are saying, "Oh, Henry, hey, what's up?" And you as a player say, "Oh, I know all those people." The community and us are the absolutely only people who ever had any influence in the game. The only thing they're helping us, mainly marketing on a global level, because we as a studio, we would never be able to get the PlayStation 5 version into Walmart, South Dakota.
Yeah, I actually am in South Dakota.
Ah, there you go. It was a wild guess. I swear to God, it was a wild guess.
Hello and welcome to CultureScape, the show that interviews the geek creators and influencers who built nerd culture. I'm your host, Pete Pischke, and today's episode is a whopper. We are talking about my favorite game so far of 2025, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, with Ondřej Bittner, senior game designer, and Tobias Stolz-Zwilling. I'm hoping I got that close.
Dude, absolutely don't worry. I'm half German, and even in Germany, the name is German, and even in Germany, they have no idea how to pronounce it. So Toby from Warhorse is absolutely fine.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, KCD2, I love on this game. This is just a sequel to other fave game of mine. It's a painstakingly crafted medieval time machine. We're talking about a 15th century Bohemia RPG. It's no dragons, you got no magic, it's just raw history. So, in this one, we'll jump into their career, the development of both KCD 1 and 2, how Warhorse crafted this historical simulator, the impact of the purchase by Embracer, and what might players expect from Warhorse in the future. But before we begin, please give the video a like and subscribe down below to help us grow the channel. And without further ado, welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for having
us.
It is my honor. I wanted to start out telling you I liked KCD 1. I enjoyed it. Great game. Little bit janky. You could definitely tell it was a first time out. KCD 2, polished, excellent. Highest praise I can give a game. I'm disabled. I have a lot of chronic pain and health issues. If I can play a game and I'm so engrossed, I'm kind of forgetting a lot of that, like the heaviness of life, the difficulties, the physical pain. I'm just so into it. I mean, that's the best kind of game for me. And that's what this game has done for me. I have I think Steam last night, it said 160 hours. So I have been playing this game probably too much, but I've really been enjoying it. So thank you.
I think, yeah, you're welcome, but thank you for playing it, I guess. The thing is, you said it, our biggest focus, I'd say, is on immersion. So everything we put into the game should make you immerse you into this world, that there's a living, that the NPCs are living, that they all have their kind of daily cycles, that everything kind of reacts to what you're doing. And all this we managed to put together now in KCD2. You said it earlier that the first one felt janky. Yes, it did, and we feel the same. But you also need to realize it was the debut title of Warhorse Studios. And when I started and when Ondřej started, the team, we kind of started at the same time. And in 2014, we are 30 people or so, some 30, 40 people. And of those 30, 40 people, only 10 ever worked on a video game before. So
wow.
You had the majority of the team came together, being enthusiasts, geeks as you are, wanting to work on video games, because who wouldn't? And it was a lot trial and error back in the time. We had this idea of this grand medieval game, and then put everything on Kickstarter, and then really quickly had to find out that not everything that sounds cool on paper or in your mind actually also plays well or is easily developable. So now with KCD2, I think I'm not leaning myself out of the window too far. I think that's the game that we always had in mind in 2014 and before. Nothing bad about KCD1, but KCD2 is just really that's the game we always wanted to make.
Yeah. I really appreciate your note on the escapism issue, because people often, if the video games are escapist by nature, you try to do something else, be someone else. And I think our game is like going even further than that, being the ultimate, as Toby said, immersive simulator. And I hope that the narration kind of changes about this, because in past video games, we're kind of having a bad flag for being escapist, ruining young people and violence in video games and whatnot. While other form of media were totally okay being escapist, books and movies and basically all stories are escapist in nature. So I hope that, with our game and with many other games, this will start to settle down into more normal, accepted media, and a form of, of relief for people.
That's like
Entertainment.
a super philosophical way you went there.
That's me. I'm the super philosophical guy here. Toby is the, I got a little bubble.
Yeah, casual idiot. A basic itch. But no, what you're saying is that's actually a broader question, because the question is then, are video games already mainstream? Because I think in a way, but mostly no.
Well, the budgets are mainstream.
The budgets are mainstream nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think video games are still not as mainstream as we wish they would be. But on the other hand, while movies and books and these kind of entertainment products are reaching their technological pinnacle, where I do not think there's much.
Books had it like for some time.
Yeah, books of course, but then you had the Kindles, like the digital books and everything, and but also movies. I don't think there's much the movie industry can come up. Well, at least I cannot imagine it. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Can be also a fair. But I think the video game industry is still in its very early, not kinder shoes, but it's still at the beginning.
Still at the peak.
Yes. And the budgets are getting bigger. The technology gets more refined, and we still weren't really able to work. By we, I mean the industry. VR is already on the market, but it's still not as user-friendly as it could be. So I think the video games are generally not mainstream yet, even though we wish it would be. But there's a huge, bright future for it.
I completely agree. I think escapist this game is, but it's also very elevating. I am someone that really enjoys studying history. I find history very interesting. But even for me, as much as I do love history and try to dig into it, sometimes it can be a bit stuffy trying to study history. There's it's not always the most engaging, maybe not the most entertaining. It takes a lot more work on your part to make those connections, read into things, understand the context. Your game, I am just loving how it is elevating this time period and making it it opens up 14th century Bohemia, Czechoslovakia, and it just shows this history and what life was like living in that time period. And I think that by itself is not only making this a tremendous game, I think it's a tremendous public good to people, because it's like, what life used to be back in the day. Even my ancestors who are coming from Bohemia, mostly up there from Prussia, north of you guys. I think this is like a tremendous good. I had my brother who came over, and my mom, and they're sitting down, they're watching me play this game, and they had all these great questions, and it really put a great even impression on them, showing Henry, and he's trying to live in this society that is much different than our own.
And, to be fair, from a purely historical perspective, it's still very far from what it would be in many ways. There's like a lot of, the game is not a museum of like history is how it was, because we're still there's some technical challenges, like with the absence of children, the size of the houses or the size of the families and whatnot. But there's also like the mentality of those people. They still, like, we try to give you glimpses of how people talk, and how they processed information and what they thought about the world. But even us are not like sure like this immaterial culture is far harder to reconstruct than material culture. Material culture has archaeology and you know, a lot of fields that can support it. In material culture, how people thought, what they were thinking of the world, what were the social norms at the day, that's much harder to reconstruct. And if we did it 100% to what we currently know, it would be totally alien to people. Like, so it's sort of like a mix to kind of, you know, give you a glimpse, you know, challenge you with some of the things that are really important. For example, the status of like, you're just a peasant and you have no clothing. And so that means no one talks to you. Like, so the appearance really matters in that time way more than today. But we still haven't like, we didn't like do it 100% because otherwise it will be totally unplayable for people.
Yeah. And it's also, we absolutely cannot, of course, we have no right to say this is exactly how it was. We have our full-time historian in the team. She's venturing out to the academic world, to the museums, to the other historians. We have, like over 40, I think, in the credits, maybe even more than that. So whenever there's a challenge, a quest, or an idea or something, she sits there right in the beginning when they're drawing the idea or making the mind model or whatever about the quest. And she's then venturing out to gather the information. Very often she then comes back and we are trying to find compromises. And the game generally is all about compromises, because not everything that is realistic is also fun. And not all everything that is realistic would make good gameplay. So we need to find a good balance in there. What I think we achieved generally is that the whole historical.
I think I lost your audio, guys.
Oh, sorry. So I was saying that what we're trying really hard is to come up with the right balance, and the frame is historical. So the events that we are showing happened this way or in a similar way. So we are trying really hard to get our data and information, but it's all about compromises we have to do day in, day out, because not, as I said earlier, not everything that is realistic or real is also fun. But yet again, we craft a game that tries to be as authentic as possible where it can get with the technical limitations. And that is, I think, the important part. We do not pride ourselves like this is exactly how it was, but this is a possible way how it could have looked like. Yeah.
And you know, I think that for example, for me, the primary goal is not to educate people through the game, but sort of set up this environment where they can search for answers themselves. You know, so even now I can see on my YouTube feed, videos are popping up like, what was Bohemia in 403? You know, who was Jan Žižka? Who was this King Wenceslav, this King Sigismund? Why is Kingdom Come so obsessed with bathing culture and stuff like that, you know? So we are not, because we can't say how it was, and we have all these limits. We're just a game, but we try to set up the sort of buffet of questions so people like yourself or people that want to be engaged in it go out and they actually pick up, you know, a book or a movie or a documentary or a wiki article or whatever. They start to be interested, which is like, which I think is the main sort of like our goodwill power to like push people towards like, hey, this is really interesting. You could like, you know, you can stop, you know, watching TikTok and maybe do something else with your free time.
But we are still
and I don't mean it as a, you know, as a dig on someone. I mean, just like, this is like a viable hobby of sorts, just being like very nerdy about history.
Yeah. And we are working, it's just a video game, and that is something that people sometimes outside like over project stuff into us, and we at the end say, hey, listen, we are making a video game that must be fun, that tries to be authentic and that tries to work with real things. But at the end of the day, it's still a video game. You have to do shortcuts. You have to oversimplify stuff. You have to be superficial here and there. We need to value the time of the gamers, and we need to respect the intelligence of the gamers, and so on and so on. So, but still, with all those, we don't want to sound too overly humble, maybe. But with all those things we just said, I still believe that KCD 1 and KCD 2 even more, is one of the closest you can get into like how it would have looked like in medieval Europe.
Absolutely, 100%. Like, this is one thing we're very confident in.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't do it right, but we are closest to that.
Okay, yeah, no, there's a good balance that needs to be found and all that. I think you talked a little bit about the historian and how you guys had to try to merge development ideas with the stuff that she was working on. I think that's interesting. How did you handle things like the combat system? How did you reconstruct things like medieval martial arts? How did you figure out doing the fencing system? Because even in KCD 2, between the two games, it's a little bit more simplified, but I also think it also handles like multiple enemies a lot better than KCD 1 did.
Well, so I mean, the fencing system is one of the examples where people are really sort of overly eager back then to put it into paper. So we have fact books, which are sort of like manuals for people who want to do fencing, which arbitrarily is sort of like this sports fencing. Even back then, it's not like a real battle. Real battle has no rules and no, just fight for real life and just smash other guy's skull, whatever. But we have this like preserved in the fact books, and there are people well over, in fencing community, there are always people who are interested in the historical medieval martial arts. So there's a lot of groundwork already covered. Like, this is one of the few cases where we basically came to a thing that was already, this is how it was. You don't need to really, worry. Like, we have to worry about the technical stuff. How do we take this and make it into a game? But the research, the corpus of research is enormous, and it's sort of not complete, but it's far more than, when you think about the immaterial stuff like spirituality and the relationship between Christians and, other religions, or I don't know, how did castles work on the inside, or how they were constructed in the first place. So the fencing is kind of really well covered.
However, the fencing is a very good example of how we had to do huge technical compromises to make it playable. Because exactly what Ondřej was describing, there's this huge medieval manuscript telling you, hey, these are the different moves and this is how it's supposed to look like. And when we put it into the game, so generally every fighter wants to be super unpredictable, right? You want to you don't want to have these long fights. You just want to poke the enemy, kill him, that's it, fine, and to the next enemy. But in a video game, you want to play it, right? You want to have this joy moment.
Tag him full war.
Tag him full war. You are ahead, but then you're losing around and so on. But what? The first part I said about being unpredictable, that is something that you cannot put in a video game, because you as a player need to see what's happening. You need to see that there's a hit coming from the right side, so you have enough time to block, and everything is like over not stimulated, but over projected on you as a player, so that you can react, play with it, do it, and signal exactly. There's you see when there's the perfect look and so on. So some people now with KCD2 said, hey, your combat is a bit slow. And the slowness of the combat, or it projecting all the hits on you, is due to gameplay reasons. Because if we make it with a very complicated system with different zones you can attack and whatnot, you need to have enough time to be able to react to the stuff. So we deslowed it a little bit, because in KCD1, when you were able to do those perfect blocks, then it goes into a little
bullet time,
something like a bullet time, sword time, and it slowed down the combat even more. And we said, okay, that one needs to be gone. We need to have it at least smooth and everything. But in order to make it feel better and play better and be less clunky, that is something that came as a feedback, was we just added many more animations and tiny animations in all those movements, so that it all feels more fluid and more playable and more reactive.
And the same goes with like multiple enemies. I mean, like in reality, facing even 2 enemies, it's almost, almost that.
Yeah.
And that there are like 5 people, and they're sort of pleasantly waiting.
Yes.
For their turn. Like, we try to fake it a little bit so they're not like standing in a line. They're like trying to go around you, but they very rarely hit you from behind, which in reality, they would totally stab you in the back in like first 2 seconds. And what Toby was said about the quickness is completely right. You can go on, or the viewers can go to YouTube and search for each HEMA fights, which are historical European martial arts.
Yeah.
And they fight with longsword. They have like the modern equipment of a sporting fencer, but they have those longswords equipped, and it's usually like 1-2 blows, and it's gone in like a second. And you know who won and who lost, and the other guy would be dead or like very gravely injured. So for that reason, we had to make it more about the dance of death. The exchanges are like way longer than in reality.
Yeah, that makes it like kendo, for example, like the Japanese sport fencing. That's how it works there. Yeah.
We have quite a few people here in the studio who are doing kendo as well. So we definitely have people here who are interested in these like sports and kendo and these kind of things, and they're taking this real feedback then into the studio and say, hey, this is how it feels.
Gotcha. This question is more towards Ondřej, probably. One of the things I find really interesting about KCD2 is the mission and narrative structure. I find it pretty impressive how you handle, because this is sort of an immersive sim, KCD is, and immersive sims, for viewers who don't understand, generally how you might approach a mission, a goal in immersive sim design is that you could come to it from multiple angles. And so how you might get into that mission, or how you handle that mission, there might be different ways to do it. And that is happening in KCD. I find it amazing, like even when I was, I did this, I don't want to give too many spoilers, so I'm being careful. But in the mid-game, you get shunted to a whole new map in Gutenberg, because things don't shake out with a particular lord. And you can actually, when you go back to the previous map, I'm running around, and then Henry is commenting on different things that are going on in the older map that kind of talk about narrative stuff that I had learned in the quest previously. And it's like, there's no mission even attached to this. This is just commentary he just gives, and he's saying, oh, this is how these bandits saw me. Oh, this is actually way worse than the hunter who said, oh, now and then I just do a little bit of dirty work. No, actually, it was quite a bit of dirty work. And I just find this fascinating, because the design is it's very intricate, but it makes complete sense. It seems really simple, I think, to a player, but I can't imagine how you would even design a mission system like this. Like, how did you guys come to this design, and how did you handle it? I can't imagine it was easy to like debug or anything.
So, one of the things we really pride ourselves in is that we try not to do filler content. We want even a tiny mission or a side activity to be very engaging, which in turn gives you this sort of rabbit hole feeling. Like, I go there and suddenly I'm 2 towns over and I'm doing something else. And then I'm helping humans, and now I'm doing that. And sort of like the world engulfs you. But you're right. There is so many variables in this. And the systems we have are really, very very complicated and very in-depth, and they often clash with the narrative design. The typical thing is like you help someone and they're like, oh yeah, I'm my best friend. And then you lie on their bed and they call the guards because, the system, I mean, there's a reputation system, but maybe the number wasn't high enough. So they let you sleep in their bed, or maybe someone didn't really, thought this through, because the branching is obviously you can branch this thing infinitely and you will never finish anything. So you have to cut the tree. You have to like prune the tree at certain parts. But I think that a lot of it is like, first of all, there's experience, because we did a lot of the KCD1. We kind of learned how to do missions and how to immediately kind of go around the obvious problems or immediately acknowledge them. That's the main value we have in designers, is like, fine, you design a great mission. Now take a look at it and tell me the 10 problems we instantly have with the systems. And we have to deal with those. And we have to deal with those preferably in a way where we work with the system and not work against the system. Like in certain quests, we lock you in a location and then we can turn off some systems to make the narration a bit more manageable. But usually we can't do this. We can't just turn off crime system in the middle of the quest. It wouldn't make any sense. So we usually do this. Like this is the first thing, experience, and the second is trial and error. People are just trying weird stuff, and then they tell us, "Oh yeah, if you bash the quest giver over head and you carry him, and you just unload him somewhere else, what does the quest will do?" And you're like, as a narrator, like, I don't even know. I mean, like, hey, okay, but I will prepare this thing here, like in the I don't want to spoil too much, but there's this huntsman quest where you carry the huntsman, and there's an anthill, and he tells you go to the anthill and carry me towards the anthill, and obviously you can drop him in the anthill. And someone tried it and came back to the designers like, I dropped him in the anthill and he didn't say anything. So we went back and were like, okay, if you drop him in the anthill, he will say, hey, fuck you, don't drop me in the anthill. But obviously, you can't ever, like, these are like, you have to work with the probability. Like, what is the probability of people doing this? If 90% of people will try this, we have to work towards it. If 0.1% will try this, we can't really, work with that, because otherwise we would never finish the game.
I think I heard you say in a different interview, Ondřej, that this game is in contention for the Guinness World Record for the longest script. Is that true?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So sadly, I don't want to break the record ever again.
Yes. When there's our executive producer said it once, like when you think of like what how do you craft a sequel? We originally thought, hey, we do KCD1 plus 25% in everywhere, and this will be enough. And we will focus much more on the part of fixing and making it feel good and so on. However, this 25% didn't work out in pretty much any department, and everyone throw in at least double the size of everything. We have double the maps, we have way more content than before in minigames, we have way more dialogue before and everything. However, we somehow miraculously made sure that it also runs great. But especially the designers, who are at Warhorse Studios, designers are narrative designers as well. So they're writing, they're choosing the actors, the accents and whatnot. And of course, then guiding their quest, they are writing, they are taking it, and then going with it through all the departments, making sure. So we don't have writers that are just adding something to something you wrote. So he is responsible for all the quests that are assigned on him. And the designers especially got super off leash when it came to writing, exactly with the anthill situation, because they came up with 1,001 different, we need to add this dialogue. And when we were in the pub, it would be super fun if someone would be burping in the background. And here these guys, they need to say something as well. So it will be so much more immersive. And yeah, now we ended up with the biggest script ever in a video game running.
To be fair, the anthill situation, is sort of like there's a different, like the script got so large because sometimes, the anthill situation is super easy. It's one person saying this one line in this one specific quest. So that's one line, and you have to record one line with one actor. But if someone says, hey, what if guards would, when they are like arresting you, what if they would like say different lines for different crimes? And so we wrote in case you want different crimes. And in case you do, someone said, hey, what if, they didn't say you heard an animal, but you said, oh, you heard a chicken, or you heard a pig, or whatever. And now you have like double the lines, but you have to multiply it because guards, like 30 people are voicing guards. So now you multiply those. So the anvil situation actually adds one line. But if someone has the weird idea of like, what if people who complain about pebbles being a mag, or all these, lines of like, hey, you're naked. Everyone has to record these, and they have multiple variations because they can say them over time. The anthill thing, he says it once. So you only need one line, but if there's like, you have an ugly horse situation, you have to have 12 lines multiplied by, pretty much everyone can say that. So you multiply it by the 100 voices or how much we have. And you end up with 1,200 recorded lines that way. So
it's insane, but at the end we have a super reactive open world, and I think people appreciate this a lot.
It is incredible. And something I didn't notice but should have, even like important NPCs will repeat conversations or some of the barks that the unimportant NPCs do, but it's in their own voice. I have to imagine that's a lot of work.
Basically, every actor recorded like the quest lines or the, sort of one-off conversation. And then they have usually 3 to 4 recording sessions, which is 12 to 16 to 20 hours of just these open world reactions. I see a thief. You have my clothing on. Please don't hurt me. Or I just woke up, from unconsciousness, and I'm like saying, "Oh, my hat," and stuff like that. And with some actors, that was the majority of what they did. And obviously, some other actors, especially Tom McKay, had loads of the one-liners and quests. But
yeah, we are right now working on two a dial or script related world records, which would be the biggest script in total with 2.5 million lines or something like that. Words.
I don't know.
And words, and the biggest script for the main actor, which is Tom McKay, and he has 40,000 lines. And you need to be able to compare it to something. A usual main actor in a Hollywood movie, 2 hours movie or something like that, has something between 300 and 500 lines. So this gentleman, Tom McKay, recorded 40,000 lines. And in total, I think we have something like 6 full days of voiceover.
These are like, the magnitude is so, that's why I never want to, I don't want to break my own record, basically, at this point. Because it's just the magnitude is like way off the charts. I don't even if you say like words or lines, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah. So, but you can see that 6 full working days of voiceover. So 24 times 6. That's the amount of voiceover we have.
Just if one of the listeners want to listen to that, they'll be crazy.
Yeah. Like what, like 130 hours or so. Yeah.
That's amazing. I applaud you on that. That's fantastic.
Well, it was very hard on battles.
Yeah, in all honesty, when we were crafting the game and when we came to the finishing line, the voiceover at the end was absolutely something that bottlenecked us, because technically the game was already in a very good shape. But on the other hand, we weren't yet there with the recordings. Also, don't forget we have six, I think, a voiceover, fully voice-overed
languages.
Yeah.
So if the other problem, like first you have to do the English voiceover, and then they can start doing the other languages. So everything kind of gets pushed back because you have to finish those before you release the game.
Yeah.
And it can't be certified in consoles unless you have all the languages listed on the box. So, it really pushes your like time frame back when you really need to like, the game releases in 2 years. It already has to be written and you have to start recording because otherwise you can't make it.
This part we definitely underestimated a lot in development, and then it bit us in the ass.
We're recording in 3 studios simultaneously to just like 8 hours a day basically to make it.
Had to dig into the factory model for voice recording.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when you want to change when you're bug fixing, right? It's fine. If no one is talking, that's great. But if you need to change a bug or change anything in a quest where extra recording is necessary, this already is like, oh shoot. Okay, if we have to redo any recording, we probably won't fix that, or we just scratch it or something like that. So it was, as I said, this record, if we get it, will be great, but it was very painful to get there.
Cool. Just some other design questions I have. A lot of people have talked about one of the interesting aspects of KCD2 that kind of carries over a lot from KCD1 is that there's a bit of a hardcore attitude when it comes to the save system.
Oh, yeah.
KCD2 is a little bit more flexible because getting those golden schnapps in 1, not easy. Whereas they are pretty, if you're looking for them, you can find them in number 2. Why? People have been complaining about this forever. I think the top mod is like, save whenever you want, quick save whenever you want. Why did you guys, maybe this is a Vavra thing, but why did you guys decide to stick with us?
So, Toby, this is the part where the internet will hate me, okay? I'll just say a few things about it. This is obviously a super controversial topic, but if you can press F5 and save anytime, there is no suspense in a single-player game. That is our philosophy. If you are about to fight with bandits and we want an immersive sim, or we want people in an immersive game, preferably want people to be afraid of fighting and be kind of like, oh, how will this end? I hope I will not die. The only way to give them this emotion is to make them lose gameplay time. So we have to, and not to lose gameplay time means you have to exchange it for resources. We made it, I think, way easier in Kingdom Come 2 to obtain savior schnapps. We did the save and exit if you want to just go away. But I stick by this wholeheartedly because I myself will spam the F5 button in other games, and I know I'm cheating on myself.
Yeah. It's just this idea of having this minimum investment that you have to do, and by minimum investment I mean this potion, so that you think twice before you go into the situation. And I'm playing KCD with my girlfriend right now, and it's also when we're going on quests, I'm telling her, do you have food in your inventory? Yes. Do you have savior schnapps in your inventory? Oh no, okay, get savior schnapps first, okay, and then now let's go on the main quest.
This is the other part where we kinda, in the gameplay loop, we emphasize the going out on an adventure means like being well equipped. Make sure your weapon is sharpened, repair or stuff, maybe take some, repair kits in case, take some potions, and that then rewards you with, you will just smash through those bandits, and you will heal yourself with your potion and bandage yourself and sharpen your weapon with your repair kit. And you're like, I earned that. I didn't magically found a health kit box in the camp because that sort of like takes away you being prepared.
Yes, but we wanted to, of course, address this thing because in KCD1, when you needed the savior schnapps most in the beginning, it was hardest to come by, and that was definitely a mistake. It was expensive. was hard to come by. You couldn't brew it yourself yet. And that was definitely something. And then when you got plenty of them, you didn't need them anymore.
There was no alchemy tutorial like KCD1, so you didn't know how to actually do that.
And in KCD2 now we said, okay, listen, whenever you finish a quest, often when you get a quest, whenever you sleep in your...
That was also in KCD1.
Yeah, but generally, like the questing saves the game. You have those hubs where you can sleep and save. You have whenever you want. So if people say, hey, what if I'm a dad and I need to go? Well, then just save and quit. That is always possible. Plus, you can you can find them everywhere lying around in the game. You can buy them at every pub in the game, and you can brew them relatively easily right from the get-go. So in all, we tried to be stubborn on our philosophy, but also understand, okay, we get it. It was maybe too hard, so here's our compromise.
But on average, you will have way less saves than in other games, and that's intentional. Yeah. And I still think this is one of the things we're unapologetic for.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just how it is.
Yeah. Internet's not always right.
Well, almost never, actually, but, don't tell them. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I won't. Just a few, I mean, I could spend forever on any of this, but we only have so much time. You have the excellent new mini games in this. You have blacksmithing, you have alchemy. Both are excellent. I think Ondřej, putting together the blacksmithing mini game was your forte. How did you figure out? Okay, so we're gonna have blacksmithing. How did you figure out how we're gonna take this, which is kind of a relatively complicated thing, and turn into this totally workable and very relaxing mini game? What was your inspiration there, and how did you figure out to solve this puzzle?
So I think that all mini games that are in Kingdom Come, be it alchemy or the sharpening wheel or the blacksmithing or the dice, are first and foremost not very in-depth games. They're not like you need to know a lot of stuff. There's not a lot of layers to go through. There's almost no UI, almost no menus. And the reason for that is all mini games tend to be immersive, so they don't have a lot of the gaming stuff in them, a lot of mechanics. They don't try to be, they're not meant to be, I will get infinitely better at this mini game. I will not reveal so many new layers, because then it's sort of very complicated and sort of game in a game. We almost didn't want games in a game. We wanted things you can do and feel like you're doing them. So for alchemy, blacksmithing, everything, the number one thing is I'm standing there, I'm doing it. And from that, you only have limited options what to do. So we said, okay, we will forge the sword, or you have to heat, we said, well, you have to heat it, you have to smash it, we have to somehow make sure that you're not smashing the one spot, so we did a bit of math to tell you that you have to spread it. So we wanted to make the minigame super real, you actually bend the shape with how you hit it. If you go to any Renaissance fair, you can try blacksmithing a nail usually. It is extremely hard to do a nail, even if you do it from Play-Doh. It's like shaping three-dimensional objects with hitting them with basically one-dimensional force is not an easy job. So, and if you, on top of that, you have to work with super hot metal that gets colored. So we scrapped that and we said we were going to make it easier. We're going to include some rhythmical thing because people like that, but just the flavor. It's not a Guitar Hero thing. And so that's how we crafted it. And still we said, people say, I crafted everything and I don't know what to do next. Can you add more and more stuff? And we actually usually took away stuff from the minigame to keep it simple. Keep it really just relaxing, as you said, just standing on the anvil, whistling, hammering away.
I love how Henry's whistling the songs from KCD1. So the theme music and the different music from KCD1, and we are focusing it because the blacksmithing. Luckily, the people like it a lot. My girlfriend is also a very big fan of that. We are having a full DLC dedicated to that in the future, where Henry will take over a forge and take care of it. Can become a master smith, master blacksmith. But it comes later this year. It's still far ahead, but
Legacy of the Forge.
Legacy of the Forge. Exactly. We have a full dedicated
coming in
later this year. Summer, right?
Yeah,
we're already doing the marketing stuff here. Okay.
Oh, almost got you there. Almost got you, Ondřej. So close. That's a good way to move into ideas or cut content that maybe you wanted to do but didn't have time, or you had to let it drop. Was, for example, was fishing considered for a minigame? Because there are a lot of fishing spots in the map.
Any good game needs to have a fishing minigame, I always say. And unfortunately, we never managed to squeeze it in. The fishing spots actually came after. It's just like points of interest to, look for fish traps. So they're not connected. There was never a minigame in production for fishing. There was obviously ideas of paper. And ideas of paper, let me tell you as a designer, paper can carry any weight you put on it. So we had so many ideas about so many things. The cut content is immense. It's kind of unfortunate that we are re-adding stuff that we already had in the first game, and certain like Barber will come into the game, but we just didn't have time to make it properly. That's the problem. And I want to defend us here from people who are saying, oh yeah, they had it completed and then they cut it to put in DLC. We never do that. Mm-hmm. We absolutely loathe this behavior. It's just we can't really put in this time around. We did a game which is objectively way less buggy and way less broken, and it was because we were holding ourselves in we don't put not finished stuff in the game.
Yes.
So for example, Barber was we had Barber from KCD1, but it was sort of meh. So we wanted to do it better, but to do it better, we just didn't have time, and we're just doing it. Basically, we're doing it now.
Yeah, but that's why we put them in as a free
content. Yeah.
Free content. But something you need to realize. So, first of all, I think we were, and this was good on the planning side. There's many things we didn't do good on the planning side, but this one was good. We knew very early in development which of the stuff needs to be cut away. So pretty much, because we get this question very often, hey, what did you have to cut out of the game? Pretty much nothing, in a way. We had to cut away ideas, absolutely. So of course, on paper, we had the tournaments, Jousting and whatnot, but we were able, the full team started to work on KCD2 in 2019, and latest by 2020, we knew everything that goes into the game and everything that does not go into the game.
And so we create one quest that was unfortunately mine.
Yeah.
The first quest, we were testing the new quest system, and it got so complicated we couldn't finish it. But otherwise, we even didn't cut any content that was already been working on.
Yes.
We got all of the content on the paper, obviously.
Yes. And all those, and this fortunate situation, let me call it, led to the fact that we have such a stable game and such a relatively bug-free game, because we, as I said, this time wanted to be KCD1 plus 25%. So we were really strict with cutting away stuff, but then the 25% didn't work anyway, because all the things that were in the game bloated up to become rich, and we expanded in not in length, but in width, right? And all these factors led to us having more time in the end to bug fix the things, to make sure that all the systems work together, to make sure that you have these amazing moments where you're doing side quests all over the trusty region, and then at the wedding you meet all the NPCs who are saying, "Oh, Henry, hey, what's up? How did you end up here? And thanks for doing this and that." And you as a player say, "Oh, I know all those people, and I did this with this person, and this person I never met, but this person I did this great quest with her or whatever, and this is the result. So I wouldn't really. It always sounds so negative and sad, like, oh, we had to stretch something, but we're really. This is the game we always want to make. We're super proud with what we have, and all this led to this situation.
The absolute daily food here is compromises. Like the video game industry is all about saying, like, taking stuff away so you can finish it. And if you do it right, you take it away very early, and preferably you don't add stuff in the late. Like in KCD1, like 9 months before release, we added pickpocketing. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was absolutely insane, because from like, it doesn't sound as much, but now you can steal like quest items from people, and all the quest scripts have to be like adapted to fit that. And it was absolutely mental to do that. Like this time around, we would never do such a thing. Like fortunately we did it, and it kind of didn't break the game much. But still, this idea of like the mentality of like, well, let's put it there, we kind of got away from it in order to make more polished product.
Yeah, that's my favorite part of the game. I love stealing and sneaking around. It's the best.
But that was there. Just the pickpocketing minigame wasn't there
Yeah.
originally.
Gotcha.
In the first game.
Yeah, no, and it's extraordinarily polished. I mean, rarely, especially these days, do we have a game that gets in that AAA space that's anywhere near close to efficient as this game is. Even I have like a bit of my hardware is a little bit dated. I still have like DDR4 RAM, and I think I have like a 3060 card. And even still, I was on ultra settings. I was topping near 60 frames most of the time. So that's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Thank you very much. As I say, we put a lot of effort in there, and here is where postponing the game for us was meant like really a change of like day and night. So we were originally planning to release October, November, somewhere there in this kind of last year, 2024, right? And decided, hey, listen, we talked about it earlier. The voiceover thing is a problem. We can eventually only do English and then have to send all the other languages in patches or download whatever. We said, oh, super clunky, super uncomfortable, will be not good idea. Plus, there's plenty of fixing and optimization we can still do. So we decided, okay, next possible would be February. So that's what we did. We managed to have, and I really mean it, a breakthrough moment in development, in the programming department, extremely late, like in October, November, by the time we wanted to release the game. And this breakthrough moment was the fact that we were able to hit 60 frames per second on consoles, because they found some miraculous ways how to optimize the code or whatever to make it run as smooth as it does. And these fixes and these like optimizations that were also so that it runs great on the Xbox Series S, those all benefited also all the other platforms, the PlayStation, the PC, everyone. And now we are in a situation where even with a dated game, the dated hardware, you can run 60 frames on PC easy. And if you're having a gaming PC, you can hit the 120 frames easy on the game as well. And so luckily we were able to have this breakthrough moment. And then at some point, we decided mid-December, we had the review candidate ready. By review candidate, that's the one that could go to press for reviews, right? And we said, you know what, the game is really in such a great place at this moment. We are super confident with it. Let's do something crazy. Let's send the review code out a month before release, which is something that is almost unheard of, I'd say in the video game industry. So we were finishing in mid-December. We had round about 2 weeks here, including Christmas, where some were working to make it, to stabilize it and check if it's all nice. And on January 2nd and 3rd, we were sending out review codes, and people had 4 weeks to play the game. And the majority said that this is like unheard of, outstanding, and now we are in a situation where, because on the KCD1, many people loved it, many people hated it. Some liked the crime, some hated the crime, some loved the combat, some hated the combat. But the one thing that everyone was able to spot, and the one thing that everyone
unanimous decision, it's buggy.
It's buggy. That's what everyone said.
We couldn't say
no. So we thought, okay, we don't want this to happen.
And we're not at Kickstarter indie anymore.
Yes.
Like that was like very fortunate and very tolerant community embraced us and said, oh yeah, it's buggy, but here's the spirit, there's the soul, it's clunky, it's Eurojank, but there's something in it. But second time around, people won't be, you can't do that twice.
That's fair. That's a good way to segue. How did transitioning from being an independent studio to being owned by Embracer affect how development, did it affect creative control decisions? I know that there's a lot of speculation there, and I'm not trying to reignite any social media controversies, but
we can give 100% honest answer. When we were embraced, I said, terrible pun. And there was a lot of people who were maybe, having questions about that. They were like concerns because we know about some horrific stories in the gaming industry where companies were taken over, basically dissected into parts, and everything was lost. Luckily, Embracer is sort of very, I would say, like non-invasive owner. In like, we basically meet with them only on marketing, where we sort of go through back and forth process, but with design and content and everything, they didn't have any opinion on that. They don't try to tell us you have to do a multiplayer or live service or third person view, because our marketing team said it will raise whatever expected or sales. Like all the creative decisions, all the creative control is not only owned by us, but it's not even questioned.
Yeah.
There's not even like suggestions. There's
nothing.
Let
me also get this straight. So we are also not bought by, we are not an Embracer studio. Yeah. We are being bought by PlayOn. Back in the days, they were called Koch Media, and Koch Media is being owned by Embracer. Deep Silver is our publisher. It's a label.
It's a label, yes.
Yeah, but the company is called PlayOn. And PlayOn is our mother company, and the mother company of PlayOn is Embracer. Embracer is a finance operating in a way. They're buying all this, but we don't meet them, never ever, because Embracer doesn't deal with us directly. So maybe our CEO or something when they're talking about budgets or whatever. Who we talk with is PlayOn, our direct mother company. However, PlayOn, and I'm absolutely convinced that despite some QA maybe from PlayOn, no one ever from them it's not like they didn't know what the game is about. Of course they knew what the game is about, but no one was quality checking in a way like, oh, you should add this or that, or we don't like this.
No attempt on the game.
So there's absolutely zero influence from anyone on this game. No, not our publisher, not even the overlord Embracer. The only people that have influence on our game, the only is us here. So we have and that is great and a curse simultaneously, because we have an extremely flat structure. While I introduce Ondřej as a senior developer, he is a senior developer, of course. We don't have this seniority level here at War, so everyone, if they like or dislike a quest or whatever, they will absolutely make sure to let you know that your stuff is boring and whatever, and change it, and this can lead to horribly long discussions until in the end something cool comes out. So the positive of that is that in the end we have a better product because more people can give some feedback to it. So really it's not like this stands on this one person, that's it. And the other people that influence the game to some extent, to some extent, is the community, because we absolutely do watch the majority of streams and YouTube videos, Reddit, we of course know that the potion, the saving potion was the #1 downloaded mod. We know that, and we saw that, and that's why we adjusted that system a little bit, but kept stubborn on our design ideas.
Yeah, we can't really make an average of all the opinions.
Exactly.
Because then it's
exactly. It's still exactly. We are stubborn on our roots and our thinking on how this video game should work, but we are taking into account what the community says. And the community and us are the absolutely only people who ever had any influence in the game. And as I said, not even PlayOn, our direct mother, ever said do this or that. The only thing they're helping us, exactly as Ondřej said, is mainly marketing on a global level, because we as a studio, we would never be distribution. We would never be able to get the PlayStation 5 version into Walmart, South Dakota. So that this is the main thing they helped us with, getting on the big stage, and that's it.
Yeah, I actually am in South Dakota right now. So
there you go. It was a wild guess. I swear to God, it was a wild guess.
Oh, no, I believe you guys. It's just there's been just a ton of social media speculation,
and we know that sounds almost like we're reading a statement. And I myself, I am surprised how there was almost lack of influence. I would expect. I knew that there wouldn't be a lot, because Embracer or even Plan are not like these. They don't have so much structure to hold this all together like other companies that will basically buy you and then replace all the parts. So I knew there won't be this, but I was genuinely surprised that there was nothing.
Absolutely. We don't even have some super manager or something who came in here and tried to change stuff. We are the same. So KCD1 was finished by 110 people, or released by 110 people. Of those 110, my wild guess would be that 70 of those are still working here in KCD2. So and the other half mainly, again, didn't work on any video game before. So we have kind of a similar situation with KCD1, but at least we have an expertise now. But as I said, there's no outside influence at all of what we should or should not put into the game.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you for the clarification. We'll now start wrapping it up, I guess. Fun bonus question. Trotsky Castle features in KCD2. Trotsky Castle, famously one of the most haunted castles in the world, has some fantastic deep supernatural lore. Why did you guys decide to include Trotsky Castle there? And if you were at Trotsky Castle, did you see the demons? Are they real?
Okay, so you're kind of pronouncing like Trotsky Castle. So Trotsky Castle, it has nothing to do with Trotsky, the philosopher.
Sorry, that's my
it's okay. I just wasn't sure if people are not mixing it up. So it's a different thing. But it's there's way more haunted places in Bohemia. Oska Castle is way more scary. We didn't see any demons in Trotsky. Well, we did have a team building next to Trotsky, and there was a lot of savior snaps, and so I think we all saw some demons.
Demons.
And some of our colleagues turned into demons, but we chose this location because it is iconic.
Yeah, definitely. No, I thought that was cool. I was like, wait a second, I think I've heard of this place before. And you do have a fun little nod in the game, a mission that kind of plays on that. So I thought that was neat.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of supernatural mission, but I think the main reason is you can see it from anywhere on the map.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super helpful for narrative designers to be like, hey, here's a quest, get to this place. And you see that place from every corner of the map. So every time you turn around, you're like, oh yeah, I still have to do this.
Right.
So this is, and it's very iconic in the shape and everything. So, and plus it is surrounded by the cliff formations are real. The rock city is there. So that's great environment for a video game landscape.
You also need to realize the Trotsky Castle today is just a ruin. So there's two towers. They are somewhat like you recognizable. There are some walls, but it's pretty much a ruin. It's a nice ruin, but still, the people around Trotsky, but also generally in Czech Republic, are losing their shit because we were rebuilding it into how it looked 1403. The castle was finished somewhere in the late 1300s, like 1380 or something. Something like that. In 1403, when the game takes place, it's just a castle in its full glory, just like brand new structure in a way. So right now, I saw already several people here in Czech Republic photoshopping the in-game picture of Trotsky Castle into a real-life picture of the area, how it could have looked like, and the people are losing their shit, how we are rebuilding those things. And here in the Czech Republic, to quote the Anchorman movie, we are kind of a big deal. So because we are trying to deliver some historical things here from the region, some cultural things from the region. We are rebuilding the medieval heritage is really big here. Every kid knows about castles and whatnot. So it's kind of great that we also could now are building back to how it looked in 1403. So I think overall it's cool. And yeah, Trotsky today is not haunted anymore. There's nothing, but in the game there's the demons that you have to.
Yeah, they're homeless demons now. Nowhere to go.
Yeah,
poor guys.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap that up here. Is there anything else that you would like people to know about your game, or you'd like to share before we close out?
I have a message for the fans, if I may. I mean, it's not more to the... I saw a lot of people on social media who are like, I really want to play this, but it's not for me. You know, and I want to tell you, it's okay. It's totally okay. And I'm just happy that maybe will inspire more games that are for specific niche of people, and they're not for everyone, and they're not meant for everyone, and you have to be sad about it. I mean, you can still try and play it, but it's okay not to be like, because there's a lot of hype. I just want to say it's okay, because I think that's the strength of the game is not for everyone.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. And if more games are not for everyone, we'll all be way happier, I think.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we are absolutely not ticking any boxes or cater to anyone. We just do the game that we think is cool and that we would play and that the community appreciates. And luckily now also 2 million people in 2 weeks appreciate it. So all these things are positive bonus factors, and it's just nice to have you all around.
All right. Well, thank you both for taking the time to meet with me today. I'm really glad we could make this happen. I super appreciate it. It was a good conversation, and I love the game. It's great.
Thank you
very much. I love your background.
Yeah, thank you. It's a bunch of my knickknacks or stuff my niece and nephew gave me, so that's kind of why it's so eclectic.
The bison.
Yeah, the bison. I'm always looking at the bison. Yeah,
I do like the bison.
It's carving.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for taking the time to watch CultureScape today. If you are interested in the game, you haven't checked it out yet, you can find KCD2 on all the modern platforms for consoles and PC. It's an excellent game. I highly recommend you do so. Thank you again to Chris Holowicki, my editor, who makes me look way more competent than I actually am, and to all my viewers like you. Thank you so much. You're the reason why I keep doing this. So until next time, my friends, keep geeking out. Hey there, gang. If you are a fan of CultureScape, and I know you are, and want to get involved in supporting the show, well, now you can. By joining the CultureScape Patreon, you'll help support me and my editor, Chris, as we create the show and produce more quality journalism. For just $5 or $10 a month, you not only help us, but get access to our exclusive members-only Discord. You'll also get to vote on and suggest new guests for the interview. So if you are a fellow weeb and love CultureScape, then come join us today on Patreon.